Welcome back to the Adventures in Silvernell.
Ow,
What
ow!
the Fae? Campaign 5. The Odyssey of Chaos. I didn't say that in the right order, but I said all the important things.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We are all here smiling, happy because we know that we are not, at least not starting in a fight today. Wave to the cameras, my minions of chaos. Wave to the camera. See, they're all happy to be here, and we're happy that you're here. So welcome back. So much has happened in these last 5 episodes, even though it's only been maybe less than an hour and 15 minutes of you all knowing each other. But for the people who weren't here, let me just walk you through what happened. We met Ursine Grills, a human ranger from the material plane, who was exploring the labyrinth of Mortenzau in the Penelope sentient flora. And as he was doing that, as he completed that, learning a new addition to the mission he was already on, which is finding friends to actually complete Mortenzau's labyrinth, he was pulled into the Fae. Much like our friend Sharp Cheddarfield, who was pulled into the Fae from a city not far away. He was in Silverware in the city of Bredenborough, where he was meeting with some cracker folk and having a meeting about conspiracies. I got to think of how I say everything because I don't want to. Everything's just so important. Okay, thinking about meeting about conspiracies and the things that are going on in the Fae, but from the material side. Trying to get into the Fae and to understand where preservatives are coming from for reasons that are his and his alone. But food folk like preservatives. This is well known. We also met Desiree Elmira. Did I say that last name right? Elmira? Yes. Who is a graduate of the Sky Defense Academy, a flying school in the Fae made by Demina Songkeeper, a school made and built to train the next generations of warriors to fight Olivine, the big bad threat that don't die and pops heads with his mind. She is a graduate of that school, and she was seen at the 230th graduation ceremony, or the 230th anniversary of the school's founding, where she met with her handler. Interesting. A spore person, from the Court of Autumn, who gave her a mission to watch out for Neo-Asgarathes and to specifically look into the Peace Walker, a current graduate, a person who was graduating from the Sky Defense Academy that same day. And as she got that, she was also on the trail of a man named Orseus Blackwell, who she believes to be a Neo-Asgarathi from Onwall, who she's been tracking down, who's also a member of the Sky Defense Academy and alumni. On the trail of him, she encountered Blackwell, who was talking to his brother, Orcus. So it's Orseus Blackwell and Orcus Blackwell. They don't have the most creative names in the Glythe clan, it seems. And she heard them talking before she herself was sucked into a portal and whisked away, not whisked.
You got
whisked
it.
away. And then we met our friend Sylvie Ono on board the Screaming Whale, a pirate vessel that was leaving from the Bogane Tropics, heading back towards Onwall, the pirate city capital in the Feywild. He was there under mysterious guise. We seem to feel that he is an enforcer of some kind for a cold bitch we've not yet met. But we saw Sylvie summon a devil, and who is in allegiance to them, and then use that devil to slaughter a bunch of people on the ship, threaten a captain, leave the captain for dead, and then find himself stuck through a portal, and his story aggressively changed. We also met the Peace Walker themselves, Tidbit Crimson, a small grung who just graduated from the Sky Defense Academy, making them an alumni. They got a shiny little badge. They were top of their class. They are not only Peace Walker, but they are the chosen of Summer Song God of Time, and they are the chosen of Demina Songkeeper, Queen of the Fae. And he is, as we've learned, a pacifist who is visited by time, the person, through time, the concept. and has been given the mission to watch out for another champion that may be on the loose. Someone who's in need of guidance, and that is all the information he got before he was sucked into a portal himself and pulled into a new place with his party members where they sat inside of a empty room and they were tested and told the story of the primordial princes and the ballad of time, which is the creation of the fae, which I will not go back into it. There are 4 episodes you can watch that are really brutal and really cameras in it, and so you could go back and grab the ballad of time and those 4 episodes of combat. The players were brought together. They didn't know each other's names. They barely could tell who each other were outside of the things they could tell from looking at each other. They're given their tells, and they were thrown into a fight. They survived the fight, and were told by Melody of they couldn't lose the fight. It was a test. The fight was a test. It was all a test, a ruse.
I think what you meant to say is we're still going.
Yeah.
They are still chugging along. They have not rested longly. But they met each other. They got to show off what they're good at, and some of them even showed off some things that they normally don't show off because they were under the impression that this was life or death, only to learn that this was not life or death. And so now if any of their secrets were exposed, they may have to spend some time back rolling the things that people may or may not have seen. Who knows when anyone says seen? Spreading chaos. And the players learned from Melody that they are all now the new members of the Will of Asteri, and they have been tasked with going to the ley lines in the Fae and checking on them because she believes that the primordial princes are or could be creeping back through, or their influence could be seeping back through from their respective elemental planes. That is a bad thing. If that happens and the Fae goes back to war or is destroyed, this will affect the material plane because the material plane is connected to the Fae. Thank you, Asgarath. And those 2 planes are 2 of the 3 anchor planes in Silvernell, and if those 2 go out, it's like someone flushes Silvernell, and that's not good. So everyone is at stake here. Not just the players, but the entire world. Where have we heard that from? Season 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5. So we got a theme here in Silvernell. But before the players were released into the Fae of their own fruition, they were given some gifts, timeless gifts left by the god Summersong, and the players have allowed me to tell you what those gifts are. So I'm gonna go through them real quick. We have Excelorando's Singing Hilt, held by Scotty. It is a weapon attachment that gives you +2 to a hit and also adds your intelligence modifier to the damage. When you make a melee attack with this, you may make an additional melee attack for free on the same action. And once per long rest, you can cast Steel Wind Strike without expending a spell slot. So Scotty has no worries about there being no melee people because now he can stab them with the power of his brain. We have the robe. Oh, also the Accelerando Singing Hilt was created by the Scott Nicholson and featured in Season 1. Ooh. Speaking of things made by Scott Nicholson and featured in Season 1, we have the Robe of Elven Symphony worn by the Erica Nicholson. Did I give things that Scott made from Season 1 to the new couple? That's crazy and accidental, but I love it. Okay. It is a light armor. Her AC is now 15 plus her dex. Erica, what is that for you now? Because I know it's not 11. So what's
16?
Your chance of surviving, we love to see it. But also, she can now cast Tasha's or Time's Otherworldly Guise, also known as Tasha's Otherworldly Guise, without expending a spell slot. And casting this spell does not use concentration, and is usable once per long rest. Boom. We have the Pendant of Displacement, an invisible pendant that is attached to our friend Ursine Grills. It has 3 charges. You can gain the ability to cast the spells Blur, Dimension Door, Blink, or Scatter by using a single charge. You regain all charges after a long rest, and you can expend spell slots, and you can expend your own spell slots to cast these spells if they're the appropriate level. We have the Pin of Protection given to our Peace Walker. It is the Safeguard spell, which it also featured in Season 1, a spell that saved Summersong's life a handful of times and caused our DM a whole lot of headaches. When he, if you ever create invisible robots that if they touch your players, take over their bodies and gain their character sheets, this spell will protect you. Okay? It's really useful. Safeguard. It's a homebrew. Look it up. But it is now canon in Silvernail because Summer Song was a wizardy girly. But you erect a magical barrier 20 feet in radius. It can block physical projectiles, a specific spell or effect or magical effect, or an environmental hazard. You can use a bonus action on your following turns to maintain the spell for up to a minute while expanding a spell slot. While extending the spell, you are concentrating, but you have advantage on concentration checks. You can use one part of that spell each time, so that you can use the spell effect or magical effect. You can use the environmental hazard, and you can use the projectile. Each of those individually before having to do a long rest, which is not how the original spell works. So it is better. And then last but not least, we have Musen Discord, a shield with a hummingbird on it, motifed on it, held by Sylvie Ono. It is a +3 magic shield, which means Sylvie Ono gets +5 to their AC, and +3 to all saving throws while attuned. Even if not held in your hand, it just simply must be on your person. And you can use cantrips as opportunity attacks, as well as leveled spells that have the range of touch. Very specific there. But Timelessness, left by the god Summer Song. These are magic items that hold the rank of artifact. There's the highest rarity of item you can have. There's one of these items. They're held by the players. No other ones exist. They can't be changed. They are immutable by God himself. Okay, well, time. But unless you ask Ben, God himself. And whoa! All right, taking
You're
back
not wrong.
the artifacts of the guy who's not from here. I love it. Yes. And you for some reason can't sell them anywhere. They just gray out. It's so crazy. Those were the items given to the players as they kind of got to speak with Melody and answer any of their last questions before they were set out into the world. And as that happened, they were, in a blink of an eye, moved from the space they were in into a new space where the first thing they felt was the heat of the sun on their skin. They could smell cinnamon in the air, and they can taste brown sugar on their tongues as they all stand in a new place. Erica or Desiree, Elmira immediately knows where she is. Sharp Cheddarfield, Sylvie Ono, and Pipit Crimson can put together that they have landed themselves somewhere in the Court of Summer because, fun fact, it's hot in the Court of Summer. You feel that heat and you're like, oh, if there are 4 options, this is probably the best bet. And then there is Ursine Girls, who this is kind of like just a hot forest. It's could be home, could not be home. And as all the players stand there, I have one last gift for you all. Some things you may have noticed in the last 5 episodes. So we'll just start there. Sylvie Ono, you may have noticed that Tibbet claims to be God touched, and is nosy and is dangerous. Ursine seems to be favored by nature, like you are with the Weave. Ursine and Sharp aren't from the Fey realm. Be weary of Des in her book. She's got a sharp eye. Sharp is different, perhaps an ally. Alumni are like police. Those are the enemy in your eyes, and there are 2 of them in your party. Melody mentioned Tiamat's part in the Primordial Princess conflict, and you know that Yumi has some relation to Tiamat. Tibbet Crimson. Sylvie is not only dangerous, but dabbles in dark/blood magic. That's weird. Rumors of similar magic have been heard of from hags and demonologists, and are believed to be the type of magic that have been used to keep the Court of Winter hidden away. Why did Sylvie not go to the Sky Defense Academy if he was so powerful? Or better, how did he get so powerful without attending the Sky Defense Academy? Weird. Ursine seems to be the only person who's honest about basically everything he said. He doesn't want to be here. Sharp isn't the standard hero like you were trained at school. Sharp was okay putting you in harm's way to help others. That is not how people normally treat you. People are always worried about your help, your way of being more than others. Des is far more skilled than you would expect from a graduate. A skilled tactician track student. Interesting. Melody mentioned knowing Sir Irva pre-ascension and being from the Kingdom of Symphony. You've not met anyone else who holds that title or that relation. You overheard the acapella talking about Olavine's defeat. Based on the timing of Summersong's message/mission, it is likely that the champion you are looking for is currently in your midst. And this is a thing that I'm just telling you. You have a point of reference for your legend lore ability, which is the Primordial Princes. Sharp Chatterfield. Tibbet has seemed to take a liking to you, which could be very useful in the long run. Tibbet is irrevocably good and can see through deceit, likely to position himself on the morally correct side of an argument. Sylvia is useful in combat, but a wild card, uses dark magic. Sylvia is likely the most intuitively aligned with your way of thinking/being, but what's his angle? Smart to not trust him, but foolish to not utilize him. Dez is a snooper and thinks there's something off about you. Might have to give them a trail to follow. Dez is as useful in combat. Dez is useful in combat in the opposite way that you were used to, but she is as smart as you, which is dangerous. The Sky Defense Academy is a reputable training facility, but Dez and Tibbet are not equals. They both claim to be tactician tracks, but you can tell a difference between how they move on the battlefield. Ursine can handle himself in combat, maybe the best of everyone in the party when it comes to martial prowess and survivability. Ursine poses a low tactical threat, but a high combat threat. Built by combat, not study. Dez. Watch the Peace Walker mission update. Tippett doesn't seem to have any awareness of the Neo-Asgrathies, or he's good at covering his tracks. Never hurts to double check. Tibbet is a pacifist and an immensely skilled tactician. You might need to be on your toes around him if you want to fly under the radar. You can't lie to him, but you can dance with the truth. Something you're very skilled at. Sylvie is a shoot-first kind of guy. Their relationship with magic is one of a kind and very interesting. Noteworthy for your book, probably. Ursine seems to have a unique relationship with nature. Those blights just really seem to like him. Much like you are connected to nature. Ursine is not from the Fae, but you feel an urge to be honest with him, unlike you would with normal outsiders, because you know that you're in charge of spreading Fae propaganda to those from the material plane because they don't need to know your business. Sharp doesn't act or look like organic food folk, which is what we will call food folk that move from the Fae. And in that moment of saying that, you think about the fact that the food folk you had met from the Fae are things that like you would find are like typical fruits and foods. It's like things that you would just like, oh, grapes, apples. It's those kind of food folk beings. You don't really often see complex foods. You're not seeing pies. You're not seeing cakes. Like those things that are like from food folk breeding with each other and making new species of food. You haven't never seen that before. You've only seen organic food. So, you know, fruits, vegetables, the basic food groups. Sharp is the only person who knew anything about the will of his theory. What other knowledge or propaganda might he hold since he's from the material plane? And Melody mentioned knowing your great-great-grand Desandra, an original member. That's interesting. I've never heard anybody talk about her. Ursine Grills. Sylvie is the first fairy you've ever met. Sylvie holds a dark power, like a pretty flower that carries a poison. Tibbet is the first person you've met who doesn't Tibbet is the first person you've met that doesn't value his life over others. Tibbet reminds you of your blights. You feel drawn to protect him. Sharp acts differently from food folk you've interacted with and hunted, outside of his allegiance to Olivine, which is a thing that most food folk have. Something about Sharp being a part of this group doesn't add up as you've been watching and looking at, comparing yourself to everyone else. You notice you don't stand out the most. Des reminds you of homes. Des reminds you of home. Trees will ask random questions. Des seems like she's holding herself back, like an ember trying not to become an inferno. And as you all stand there with those things in your brain, you sit, or you also stand in a forest clearing. As I said, you feel the heat of the sun. You can smell the cinnamon in the air. You can taste the brown sugar that's underlaid in that, and you are in the Fae, standing there confused with your friends, newly found members of the Will of Mystery, and some of you not here an hour and 15 minutes ago, even on this realm of reality. I pass the torch to you all as you stand there, confused. Desiree has a look on her face of,
Desiree will turn around definitely to the rest of their group and go, "Welcome to my home, you guys."
Your home, you live in the summer area?
Oh, born and raised, of course.
That makes sense with the fire, I guess.
Is it always so hot in your house?
It's kind of a relative term to me. I mean, I'm quite literally constantly on fire, so things are always quite hot to me.
I've never been to the Court of Summer, but thank you for the greeting.
Oh, well, it's a beautiful place. I hope you enjoy it just as delicious as the smell is here. The countryside and the cities are beautiful.
It's very dry.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
being a frog, I would assume would like it wet.
Yes.
Well, there might be an oasis here or there, and I mean, we do have some sources of running water.
Oh, that's good. Without water, I die.
And
Desiree, do
Yeah.
you know the lay of the land here? Like, you could navigate us through this place as you call home?
From where I'm at right now, would I be able to tell, like, if this is like a specific area I'm familiar with?
yeah, make me a nature or insight.
Oh, nature. I got plus 11 for nature.
Ooh, mama.
And I still rolled a 2 for a 13. That's insane.
That's my sister. Um, yeah, you are familiar with, you are south of Statue City, which is the bulk. It's about half of the court of the summer. Half of it is the city, and half of it is the open, unclaimed forest. You know that you haven't been here in a while. You haven't been here in years, in fact. And this place has changed since you have last been here. You know that your family was asked to migrate to make room for the city, and you haven't been here since that migration kind of happened. It was like a fresh wound for you. But you know you're south of the Statue City and probably more towards Falsetto Grove. So putting you like the as south as you can get before you start hitting water or the Mossy Mountains. Or
Okay,
because water will be
perfect.
down, Mossy Mountains, and then Asgraf's Cave is that, and then up is the city.
Uh, she'll turn back to the group and she'll say, "Well, uh, if we head this way, that would take us straight to the city. I would think that that might be the best place to start looking for clues. I mean, the more people, the more books, the more sources of knowledge we might have on any information that could help us."
We can at least find somebody that knows about these ley lines.
Yeah, unless Desiree knows anything about the ley lines.
Mm. Let me check my notes, and she's gonna flip through her books really, really quickly and go, not anything that I think might help us.
Oh, anything's helpful, darling. All information's needed.
She'll hand over her books slowly to Sylvie one by one and go, "Well, I mean, I trust you enough at this point, I guess. If you want to share notes," and she's gonna start handing her book after or him a book after book after book after book out of her bag.
Darling, no more. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm
if
not
anyone
gonna read a
wants,
single page out of any of this.
if anyone wants to try to decipher the notes to see, then you're welcome to make
Yeah, let me see one of
a
them books.
She'll lean over as Sharp takes it and goes, "Well, I do have an index in every single one that can help you find what you're looking for quicker. I pride myself on how organized I am."
You can give me an investigation check. Whoever's doing this, give me an investigation to try to understand, like, conceptually what's happening on these words, or perception check to just try to read, because you as you look at this book, you see that Desiree like writes very small and over herself, almost like if you see those, like, oh, you can have this size index card, and people have written in blue ink and then in red ink, and it's like written over each other, and it's like she's got these weird way of writing notes that work for her to read, but it's kind of hard to read if you're not her. But yeah, An investigation or a perception.
Thank you. Oh, I'll roll.
I'll help you out.
With the help action. I picked up what you were putting down. Investigation
Yes, or perception.
or perception?
I didn't know it was investigation. I have a +10 to investigation.
I know. I'm gonna help you.
No, I'm helping you. This is a test in my mind to see what
God
this
damn it.
magic
Okay.
usually does.
Desiree's still digging through her bag, so that's why she's not helping look. Because
No,
she's
that's
still
gonna
pulling out
be a
more books.
13.
13.
Yeah. With my -1.
Yeah, you know that you kind of got like an idea. You've been to the Fae. You know that you typically traverse the Fae via boat because it's sometimes hard to get to certain places. It's not easy to get to all the courts just by going to them, but they are almost all accessible by water. But that it's going around the whole continent. You know that the Mossy Mountains cuts off the court of spring and the court of autumn, except there is a tiny section of land at the very bottom of the Mossy Mountains that connects the court of summer to the court of autumn. You also know that you're the last flare that came up was in the court of autumn. But you know there's a way to get there, or if you want to go your natural route, you can layer in your seafaring, and if you could get a boat, I don't know if you got boats in your spell list, but if you can get a boat, you can travel down by the water that way, or you can try to make it, right around that craggy cliff.
Yeah, so I relay all that information to my teammate because I'm so sweet.
Damn, you got all that directional shit from that book?
Well, that and personal knowledge.
She's a picture drawer.
All
Very
right,
good
well,
artist.
I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My magic's kind of weak right now. I'm really out of stuff, so if we think we can avoid danger in this hot jungle, I'm down.
I don't think the path to the city will be too dangerous. I've come this way several times, and I don't think, as far back as I can remember, that I've ever come into any danger.
Yeah, trust the elf.
All right, I trust you.
Des,
Do
you
we
do
wanna
know
take a
that
break?
What was that tidbit?
Yeah, huh?
We could take a break. Tidbit could give us shelter.
Oh, you can do that?
Wait, Tidbit, don't you need like a puddle right now?
Yeah, shouldn't we get you to some water? I mean, I would offer my family's home, but we're quite far from there.
Oh, yeah, Tidbit should have her. Never mind.
I have a water skin. If you like,
What?
if you'd like
Tidbit
to drink.
must soak.
A water skin.
Can you
Oh,
fit
a
in
water
it?
skin. I thought you said a
Ooh.
lot of skin.
I do. Have you? I'm old.
Oh
It's,
God.
excess skin over here.
Oh,
we've
God.
got a router option here. BB Grimes has redeemed a vibe shift. So this
That
is a new
death
one.
made it awkward.
Let's talk about it. I'm gonna pick a person, and they're gonna give me odds or evens. Let's start with Scott. Let's do the honorary one. Give me odds or evens, Scott.
Evens.
Evens. I'm gonna roll a d20. It's a 16. That is even.
Hey!
The vibe shifts to positive. Every roll that is made by any creature or player on stream gets any d20 roll made by any creature or player on stream is currently under the effect of bless. You get a plus d4. Oh,
Ew.
and Michelangelo redeemed a Fey Fun Wild Magic Surge. Okay.
Oh shit.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna roll two.
Baby spending rooter tonight.
All right. So the person is gonna be is our boy Peace Walker. Okay, you roll me a D100. Mr. Reily. Or if you don't have one available-
74.
74. My little chart. Come on. Hold that number in your brain. 74. Manifesting.
What have you done, Micah Jones?
Just wanted some fun. Classic.
Chaotic fun.
We literally just got out of a 4-episode long fight, and we're talking about which direction to go, and we're about to have chaos.
Well, the Fae is wild like that.
That's why I said I didn't know if we'd make it. It might be dangerous.
74.
Just the melted
Tidbit can
cheese.
conjure safety.
But not water.
All right, now I gotta roll it. Okay,
We can
I
spit
gotta
on
roll
it.
another D10. Okay, this is gonna go to Tanner. So the wild magic search happens. It was a 74, and that was a random person gets poisoned for 1d4 hours. The person who gets poisoned is Tanner. Tanner, please roll me a d4.
Okay.
Sylvie, I'd watch out. There's a big purple prickly bush leaning towards you behind you.
2.
2 for 2 hours. So as you're standing there kind of like having that discussion, you can see the forest around you kind of like almost reacts to the idea of going to the town first, and it kind of just like the trees start to shudder, and Sylvie just starts puking. Just it's kind of cute because it's like fairy pukes. It's like there's some glitter in there. It's like, oh, you
yeah,
need glitter.
it's really sparkly.
As Desiree feels the brush around kind of shift, she's gonna put her hands on her hips and go, "Guys, come on! That's not how we welcome people."
Are you okay? Is this a good thing that you're doing?
Environmental change. It happens. It happens.
Why is it so sparkly?
It's my insides.
Do you not have like regular blood?
I'm a fairy.
Do you puke blood?
That's what came out. Look at it. It's sparkly.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, sometimes. But look, I think we should start moving here, okay? Before somebody else just randomly starts shitting themselves or something.
Ugh,
Yeah,
can I
heard.
lay on your cheese? Sylvie just like floats down and sits on the head of the
Lay on your-
cheese.
Oh,
Carry me while I vomit.
careful! It's hot. I'm softer.
Ugh,
I
am
get soft when it's hot.
It's like what they call memory foam, and you're brown.
Yeah, I'll never forget this. Hey, Tidbit, come on. Let's go, buddy. Let's go get you some water.
Desiree,
Ready.
Desiree, you feel you have this kind of you first you have that brown sugar taste in your mouth, and then it kind of switches to a more metallic taste. You know, you get this feeling when you haven't had your lick root. But you took a lick root at the counter, right, when you got it?
Yeah.
At graduation. Yeah. So, but this is still happening, and you're like, that thought goes through your brain. You're like, I had it within I took a dose at least an hour ago, so there's no way that this should be happening. But your body feels like it hasn't gotten a dose in a while.
I feel like she would instinctively look down in her bag and start rummaging and seeing if she has one in there.
Yeah, and you got a whole supply from
Yeah, you're right.
Megas, so you got a bunch in there. But I just wanted to let you know that. So yeah, if you want to take one out, and
Yeah, she definitely would. Feeling any certain type of way that's not normal for her, she would immediately go to that lick root and have a little bit as a precaution.
yeah, and it immediately starts to make you feel better. You feel that taste kind of like dissipate out of your mouth, and it kind of returns to a more sweet, calming sensation. Scott, what's your passive perception? I have it written down somewhere.
It's not good. It is 10.
What's your passive investigation?
I don't have that one written down. How do I do that one?
It's based on your investigation. So it's
Well, my
10.
investigation is plus 10.
Oh, so it's very good. So you got a really good passive investigation. Great. You see that Des kind of makes the comments to the forest. That's not nice. Has a kind of like weird moment. Takes out something that you know looks very similar to preservatives, and then she bites it, and she puts it up.
Did I notice if anybody else saw that?
I'm
I think
puking.
everyone, yeah, got a friend puking. Ursine is kind of tending to the puking fairy. The fairy's also like on your head.
Yeah, I was gonna
Everyone's
say,
kinda, like,
Sylvie's literally on my head puking
yeah,
off the
they're
side.
kind of like behind you, tending to the fairy, and you're like watching
Desiree, listen. You got some snacks you want to share?
I'm not
Um,
hungry.
I mean, I have some dried bark if that's your style, but I didn't
Would you
think
just
cheese needed to
put?
eat.
Would you just put in your mouth right there?
Oh, that was lick root.
Lick root.
Yeah, like a branch serum. Do they not have that where you're from?
Oh, they got a lot of that where I'm from, but it all comes from here. Where do you get that lick root?
Well, this specific one my handler gave to me.
And could you get more, or find out where it's from?
I mean, most likely, there's a lot of it to go around here. I mean, I will feel quite sick if I don't have some.
You know, I was just thinking maybe you got a book on it in there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got all my personal notes. A couple years back, I did a study about how I would feel during certain increments of time if I didn't take it. If you'd like to read up on that, I could give it to you, and she'll stretch it out.
Sure, maybe I'll take that a little story time on the walk. You know.
Meanwhile, get me to the city.
All right. Let's start walking, and I'm gonna put that book away quickly so no one really thinks twice about it.
Ursine, you feel a tug on your pant leg.
Hello? Yes?
Feels very familiar. But then you hear, "Oh, where have you been?"
Not one of mine. Very good. Very
Oh,
good.
no, it's. I just haven't seen you in so long. It's me. It's Agba.
It,
No one else hears the words coming out of the blight. You only hear Ursine talking to the blight. But continue.
how are you? How are you?
How are you? I've been trying to reach out for you for it seems like days now, and I haven't heard from you. There was a brief moment where I could feel you, but it felt like you were close, but also really far.
Honestly, doing shit. Not great at all. Don't want to be here. It's real hot here. Honestly, it's doing great on the joints. I like it. It's very soothing. But aside from that, I've been conscripted.
I don't know what that's a big word. Like a
Is it,
snake does?
kind of, but with responsibility. I'm like what snakes do, but with responsibility right now. Do you have any insight to like the will of Asteri and magical ley lines? Have you any insight to that,
Why are
or
the
how to
trees
get home?
orange?
Why? I think it's fire.
It kind of tastes funny here. Do you taste that?
Oh, you probably shouldn't. What does it taste like? What is the flavor?
Sweet? Is sweet a flavor?
Oh, yeah, the brown sugar thing. I've sort of gotten used to it. Um, yeah, I think that's just how it is here.
But where have you been? It's been
Uh,
I haven't seen you in such a long time. You know that the last time you saw Agba was right before going into the maze, which for you was less than an
yesterday.
hour and a half ago. It wasn't yesterday.
Yeah,
It was so today. It was so
yeah,
lunch earlier. It feels like days ago. So what she's saying to you is a little off.
gotcha.
But oh, I've missed you. I was worried. I didn't know where you were, and I can always find you. And then I couldn't find you, and I thought
I
we're lost.
I feel as though it's only been like hour or so plus however many minutes the just, slight combat I was in was. Um,
Mm, no, I felt the sun pass many times. Grass grew a lot.
how much did the grass grow?
Oh, I don't know, but I can. It's been. Oh, I don't know time, but You've been gone, and I was worried. Who are your friends? You
Well,
all see the vine blight whips around and looks at you, flips back around.
This is
well,
poison that I'm suffering.
Yeah, you're throwing up.
We're not gonna get
um,
fucking anywhere if we just keep talking to every little magical thing that pops up here, y'all.
I
I'm
thought we
just
were
saying.
talking and walking,
Oh.
darling. Listen to him go.
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the rude one is Sharp. The two quiet ones are. Oh, I have the names written down, I believe. Yes. It's going to be Desiree and Tidbit, and then the one puking glitter is Sylvie.
Oh, she's pretty. They're pretty. I
Uh,
like it.
she says that you're all pretty. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm slightly growing a dent in the top of my head, so might as well enjoy it.
I do not weigh that much, Sharp.
It's enough, and I'm melting.
I don't think they're very happy either.
Where are you going?
We're in the Fae. We're going to Court of Summer City, I presume. And then I think the Court of Autumn as well. After that, don't know much about that or what the business is. But I should be back, hopefully fairly soon.
Do you feel that?
Describe it.
It's it it's it feels like I'm being pulled in a new direction.
I think I like it. I think I like it.
And they will point south. You know, their tendril points out, but they look at you. You don't feel it?
No, I don't believe so. Um, uh, people from here, what is in this direction? And I point south.
Like the direction we're currently walking to the city?
North of the city. South is towards the Falsetto Grove and the it is where the water is and the where I kind of where it was mentioned that there's an access to the Court of Autumn via the Court of Summer.
Mm.
Oh, but that's what they kind of
Yeah.
they will tell you that is what it's that way.
Gotcha.
And through the pukes, our fairy friend can mention that getting to the Court of Autumn from any other place would be kind of difficult. If you were, again, your options are going by boat, and there's a mossy mountains that are in between it. People don't climb the mountains. You can try to climb the mountains if you want. Truly wild. Your biggest options are to go by water or to try to make that little impasse. But if you go by water north, you have to go up through the Statue City, up through the Kingdom of Harmony, and then go all the way around to swing back around to the Court of Summer, to the Court of Autumn. If you were to go south, the Court of Autumn is right here versus having to go all the way around to come back up. You could take a boat that way, or you could try to see what that spot is that Sylvie had spotted at the southern end, the southern end of that mountain range that seemed like it was a crossroad pathway, or again finding a boat or other magical means. But you think if your goal is to get to the Court of Autumn in the quickest way possible, which spoiler alert, it is. South might be your best bet, just contextually. And also, I'll post a map into the chat so you also can see the map. I think you've all have seen the J map. But
Oh, Melody did give us a map.
no, Michael did. Scott gave me a map, and then I gave you all a map. Your characters don't understand maps, but Melody didn't give you a map, but Desiree gave you the closest thing you have to a map, which is because there are pictures drawn in here, and it's also information. So it's more of a contextual map than a picture map. But because of how the Fae works and with it's always kind of moving and shifting, hers is about as good as it's gonna get when it comes to trying to understand it. Settle that. Oh, and then the Viney kind of or Twiggy looks at you, Ursine. Are you trying to feel it?
No. Do you want me? Do you want me? I can't. I'll try.
I just
No, I'll try. No, I'm sorry. I'll try. I'll try. I didn't know that that's what you wanted me to do. And I'll do that wholeheartedly. I love you, Agba. I'll try.
Twiggy sits cross-legged, their roots kind of sink into the ground. Viney and Needle will triangle you and sit, putting you in the center of the triangle as you begin to commune with nature.
Yeah, I'll do that. You guys keep walking. This will. I'll.
What are you doing?
I'm just.
gonna get lost.
I'm just communing
Oh.
with the air, the ground.
All right,
It's some hippie shit.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
you
pause
guys.
for a second, guys. We're not splitting up, all right? I'm not in Candy Cane Forest about to get killed by a little rodent made of pickles, all right?
The path is straight. I can see where you guys will be.
Very
I'm not. I won't get lost.
I barely know you, bro. I'm gonna sit here with you.
Okay.
Tidbits
I guess we'll
unfamiliar
commune.
with this ritual. Is this normal?
Um.
Do
I-
people do this a lot?
You've never seen anything like it.
No. No. This is. This is. Yeah. It's a little weird. If you feel any tingling, if any of you feel any tingling, that is normal.
I always
you're-
feel tingling, darling.
Splendid. Splendid.
Sweet.
If your heart stops, it's gone too far. It's not good. Just say something if your heart stops or something. But yeah, let's commune with nature. Let's do this.
Yeah. As Ursine sits on the ground, his blights make this triangle pattern around him, and he sets. It gets very witchy, and then he sets his figurines that is associated with each of those blights, close to him but around him, and he starts to sit there. He places his hands on the ground and he begins to chant. Andrew, can you read just like yours is a little extra version of commune with nature? Do you have that word put up? Sorry, I was like trying to get
Let's
that up.
see. I'll find your words real quick, and then I will find the words of commune nature.
Oh yes. Mine are the important ones.
Yes. I have the ability to cast commune with nature without expending a spell slot. And when used in this way, I gain a level of exhaustion. But the range is 10 miles, and I can take additional levels of exhaustion to triple the distance.
Perfect. And the things that commune with nature will let you know is bodies of water, impacts from other planes of existence, any buildings that may be around, things of that nature. And as you sit, you dig your hands into the ground. Everyone's kind of like everyone who stops and watches this. Even Sylvie is kind of like in between pukes is kind of like, wow, what's happening? Like the weave is working. And you see him kind of dig his hands into the ground. And as he digs his hands into the ground, each of the blights start to dig their respective roots into the ground. And then you can see the roots start to spread out and they start to reach out and connect to each other like a triangle loading. There are all those vines and roots meet up, and then from themselves to the figurines, and then from the figurines into his hands, and it's kind of his head goes back, and Ursine, you feel heat. You feel you feel an unmistakable heat, and then you feel a sort of a calming breeze. It doesn't feel like a rampant wind, but it feels like a very calming breeze that would blow over a open plain. And you're sitting there and you feel that, and you feel it coming from a specific direction. You know that it's outside of your current field of
Okay,
reach.
let's do it. I'll do that other extra exhaustion.
Yeah,
Why
as
not?
You push into it. It's giving exorcist now. The head goes back even further. Hands go deeper in. The blights sink into the ground just a little bit more. The vines become even more rambunctious as they crawl out of the ground, and they start to wrap around Ursine, connecting him to the ground, to this space. Des, this is low key beautiful. Like it's watching this person become one with trees in an external way. It's like, as a tree girly internally, it's like, wow. But you're watching as this happens, and he's kind of like moving his hands around, and you see the blights themselves start to like shift and move into the ground. They're etching it in, and the point of the triangle, you can tell there's a point. It's Twiggy. Twiggy is always the point. Kind of starts to shift from north, and they all kind of like start to spin and oscillate, and then it lands, pointing almost southwest, right? Yes, southwest, and it's pointing southwest. And you reach out, and you're at 30 miles, and you feel that there is that breeze is not a breeze at all. It is almost like tufts of air coming off of a very heavy thing's foot stomps. It reminds you of the earthen section you were in when you were fighting those rhinoceros. As they would stomp on the ground, you could feel like the air that would come off them. Very refreshing when you're not fighting them, but up close, kind of dangerous. And you can feel that incursion from what you now know from a different plane, very close to you. And it's in that southwestern direction. So there's something that is strong enough. You are picking up a ley line that is simply too close to be a ley line. You're picking up something strong enough that is giving off elemental energy or primal energy, but it's simply too close to be a ley line, because you know the ley line would have to be not on the border. It will be somewhere really far away. And so it's just simply whatever that is too close to you, but it is also very powerful with that same energy. And just going by the things you've been experiencing, you're picking up, oh, this could be the flare in which was spoken of, because you also a kind of like melody. You can sense other planes. Not as good, but
is it an elemental or?
Yes.
Okay.
It is elemental. It is it's earth. You can feel that difference between where you are and where it is. And also, you just had a whole crash course on like elements and how they feel and how they interact with them. But yeah, your instincts are telling you that is where you want to go, and also your magic.
Cool.
And Agba.
Is there any water nearby?
Yes. To the south there is a river that you are aware of, that is rushing out of the Fae. So it goes from the Falsetto Grove, where you're kind of near, and is rushing out towards the sea. So it could be something you could follow if you want to get to water quickly, or if you want to get to the edge of the Fae without getting lost quickly, because you could just follow the water straight to the perimeter.
How far away is that?
Water was closer. Water feels maybe 15 miles away.
Cool.
It'd be a little trek, but you can probably get there.
Cool. That's the closest water?
Yeah, that is where that you feel that river either starts, or like where it bends to the point that is closest to you.
Cool.
And then he kind of his back just kind of like drops a little bit. The blights kind of like raise out of the ground, and the quintessential Ursine, tired looking 60-year-old man, returns to you in an instant, and he's like, and you all see a weird show. The blights, the spinning, the roots. You've not seen this guy do a lot of magic, and that was pretty fucking magical.
Yeah, that was beautiful, actually. The way you just sucked the weave in.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I was photosynthesizing there for just a second. Just a second. I thought I hit that. But yeah, back to breathing normal, dumb air. Oh, there's water. There's water about 15 miles south. I definitely think that we should southwest. That's not. Yes. Yeah, about that way. If we want to, there's a, the big like rock thing that we fought just moments ago. We
The one
died
that
to it, I think. Yeah.
killed us.
Yes. Well, I believe that there's one of them. That way, over there, yonder.
Towards the water?
It's water adjacent.
Yeah, it's towards the water and the mountains. So that makes sense.
West. Southwest.
Tidbit, how you
Just
doing?
splendid.
You almost at death yet?
It is
I
the
feel like-
closest body of water that I could find.
Tidbit would be fine without water if we wanted to go northeast the other direction instead, away from
No,
giant
no.
rock.
Listen, Tidbit,
We
you
can get to
scared.
everything through the water, so we might as well just go water and fuck the city.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
you got
so.
I mean, Tidbit, you could visit one of the local hot springs in the city, but again, I don't want to make the choice here. It's up to you.
Tidbit will be fine no matter what we do. Tidbit will
Just gotta
find
say-
water. Tidbit always does.
Or can you wait 15 miles, Tidbit?
Probably.
Well, let's get trekking.
All right, let's go. Are you still doing the on my head thing?
At least for another hour.
All right, just try not to get it in my holes.
No promises, cheese.
Oh, disgusting.
Oh my god! As our party starts to make a trek through the woods, let me get a quick marching order so I know how we're moving. I kind of have a mental idea, but I would love to hear what you guys think that marching order is.
I think that Desiree would be in the front because she's the most familiar with the area, maybe closely followed by Ursine since he was the one that got all the visions. I feel like they would definitely be in the front working together.
Gotcha. And then we got Cheese with the fairy on top of his head.
Yeah, well, Sylvie's on top of the head. I want to be either at least side by side or slightly behind Tidbit so that I can have vision of Tidbit.
Yeah, Team Freaks in the
Tidbit's
back.
gonna keep walking just a little bit slower, trying to do the same thing.
You're both just trying to casually.
You've got such
Slow
tiny
down.
little legs, Tidbit. Speed it
Also,
up.
I guarantee my movement speed is lower than everyone else's, so I am lagging behind.
I think I have the fastest movement speed.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
You want to get on Sharp too, Tidbit? There's space.
I'm not a taxi.
No.
Just offering them up. As you all start to make your way to the river. The river. We're gonna go to a bathroom break. But a thing that happens right before that bathroom break is, I'm looking at your face, but I can't remember your character name. Man, oh man, it's Scott. Sharp. I stared at him like, what's his name? Sharp, you feel a slight, Sylvie, make me a perception check at disadvantage.
Is
Because
Sylvie
you are-
about to defecate on my head?
No.
Not defecate.
Oh.
Glitter bomb, maybe.
Glitter bomb.
That's a dirty 20.
At
Oh,
disadvantage?
Oh, didn't hear that. Oh yeah, because I'm
Oh, fine.
poisoned.
Yeah, that's why. I was
Okay, that's still a 17.
You feel a slight, maybe it feels like Sharp is a little hungry. You feel a little gurgling. Sharp, you feel a slight a slight vibration. As you're
hungry.
you're getting a very familiar page. Let's say it feels like it's not coming from on top of you. It's coming from inside of you. Something inside of you is rattling very familiarly. It's like your little beepers going off, and you recognize that. But we're gonna go to a bathroom break. Don't throw up on your friends while we're gone, and we'll be back shortly.
No problem.
Hello and welcome back. I hope you didn't puke. Oh, but Tanner did, so it's okay. If you did, no judgment. Sometimes we have weak stomachs. It's okay.
Hot
We
girls
are-
have tummy issues.
We are jumping back into the chaos. Actually, it's pretty calm in this moment. Our party is set themselves on finding a river to get our froggy friend a little bath. And we pick up there as they move through the forest. Give me I'm gonna take a group survival check. You also do have the vibe shifts. Everyone has a D4 added to that.
Am I
So
still poisoned?
you are still poisoned.
Does that mean I have disadvantage?
It does.
I got
That's-
a 25.
Ooh.
And Ursine, you may have disadvantage.
And
Oh, yeah, 100% do. And half movement speed.
I got a 7.
Okay, at least you know what it
12.
does. 'Cause I obviously did not.
Oh wait,
Oh.
survival? I have plus
Yes.
7.
Oh.
I got an 11.
11, 12, 25. Scott, what'd you get?
17.
17. And Mr. Grills.
That'll be an 18 total. I forgot to give my D4. Okay. D4. Okay, so that's, and then I also get to add a D4 on survival checks because of a racial trait. So,
Get lost where? Oh, I
there'll be 24 with disadvantage.
he said me lost never. Does a ranger get lost in the woods? Literally no. A ranger with the mark of finding, that'd be crazy.
You wouldn't hear it.
Yeah, it's your first time in the Feywild, but you moved through this place like it's your own backyard. Even with the puking happening behind you and Tidbit distracted by trying to tend to the puking, the three of you are clear that, and so you don't. It doesn't take any extra time. You get there right over an hour. And so the poison condition has faded now. As we hit 2 hours of being in the Feywild, you are all feeling still that warmth that is radiating from the sun that doesn't seem to be setting, nor do you see a sun. You just feel the heat of the plane. It almost feels like it's coming from the ground up versus coming from the sun down. But you keep moving, and the first thing you notice is you can hear. Slapping buttons on the microphone. You can hear the running water from the river.
All right, Sylvie, you can get off my head now. It's starting to hurt.
Sorry, Sharp.
It's all right.
Thank you for letting me ride on you, though. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, normally when it's colder, it's tougher. It's easier as a seat, but that one was kind of digging into my ability to remember directions.
I know, I almost caved in one of your holes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look. All right, Tippet, come on.
Gross. There's water over here.
Yes. As you start to move towards the water, as you kind of like hit the clearing and the tree clearing, you can see that one, this water is warm. You know that because you can see steam rising off of it. It's giving like we're in the start of summer. Everything's hot. It's a hot spring river. I'm so sorry. A little fondue bath. Hey. But you see that it is a running river. And it is smoking. It is steaming. You don't know how hot it is, but you can see that it's steaming. And there are some animals grazing far across from you who don't seem to be affected by your presence. But water is present. Light is present. That's a photosynthesis. That's a bath.
Does that look good?
Want to poke it? See how hot that is.
Yeah, make me a Constitution saving throw.
Too warm.
It's a little DC 14.
Toasty.
Okay, 16.
Oh, it's warm, but it's like shocking at first, but then you're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not cooking me. It just feels like it's cooking me. And so you sit, as you kind of like sit into it. I assume you sit into it. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I'll jump into it. I got a 15-foot vertical.
And then a
Damn,
little,
God.
Trait.
you expect like a boulder, but it's actually more like a pebble. As you just bloop into the water. Does anyone else join him in the hot springs or the hot river?
I love a hot spring. Absolutely. It's good for the bones.
Yeah. Two people in the hot spring. What's our fairy doing? Oh,
I'm already cooked. I don't need any more. Instead, I want to take my spear and throw it at one of those animals because we're gonna need meat on the way. Well, I'm not,
Oh, Lord.
but you guys are, and I want you strong.
If
yeah.
I need a
You
con save, I rolled a 17.
want to go hunting? Perfect.
I'm not going.
Alright.
I'm gonna go sky hunting, as in I'm going to fly up and get an aerial and see about boat situation in the distance.
I love a sky hunting.
Uh,
Okay.
Desiree will walk over to the edge and, kind of surprising to the rest of the party, she'll pull up her dress and dip her feet into the water. And she dips her feet in, the party would notice that both of her legs are entirely made out of wood because they've been covered this whole time. You haven't seen them.
And you also
So
know
she's
that
fine to put them in.
yeah, then and the people who are in the water can notice that there are some bubbles coming up around her leg, almost like it looks like when a pot of water is starting to boil and you see the bubbles that are forming at the very bottom of the pot. You can see those forming around her because she gives off her own natural heat. But you're aware of that. Scott is hunting some deer. Give me a. You're just trying to kill him. Yeah, you're flexing that new spear you got. Give me a weapon attack. Or have you tried to kill it? You got
I
options.
pull it out of my war hole as I'm like trying to get that dent out of my head from Sylvie's ass, and I'm gonna pull it back, and it's got this now hilt on this long toothpick spear, and it looks like one of those toothpicks from like hors d'oeuvres because it's got the little plastic frilly at
Like
the end.
sword.
Yeah, it's like a little yellow, but now it's also got the hilt, so it's also like a cocktail kind of toothpick. But anyways, I'm gonna take that line up. First of all, what do these animals look like?
You see that there are now you're looking at them. They are, you know, they are. Make me a perception check. They look like horses, but they are on water.
I got an 8, so they could be elephants.
Yeah, you get it's giving like horses that walk on water. Like that's the best that you can describe it as. You've not seen them before. There's some sort of weird fey animal.
All right. Well, I pull this spear back and I chuck it at one of them, and I rolled a 25.
Ooh, hit.
Oh,
What's that damage?
14.
Oh yeah, as you kind of pierce through, it kind of sinks into it, and this thing, it falls over. It was on the water. It falls over, and it's hard to see where its body is. The only reason you can see where its body is because your spear is sticking out of it. But as it hits the water, its body almost looks like it's also made of water, but your spear is identifying it. You've killed a kelpie.
Walk over, pull
Tanner.
it out, put it back in the body.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and also you can start to give me a. Let's go through this whole little scene. Do you want to just leave? You know, you killed it. Are you trying to
No,
like?
I want to
prep
skin it.
anyway.
I want to skin
Okay, great.
it off and like chunk out some meat.
Give me a. Is it bad to be an animal handling check because you're handling an animal?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I know it's supposed to
I
be
think
for
survival too.
I'm going to do it in like I'm watching like the natural blood and gunk of like growing human flesh, or not human, but like meat. Then I'm gonna have to have a flash of genius
Okay.
because I rolled really bad. That's okay. 11.
Yeah, you.
Did you add a
You're-
D4 to it?
Did you add your D4 from
Oh.
the? There's a gnat attacking me.
That was a 4, so 15.
Ooh.
Up a little.
Yeah. Yeah, as you start to, I'll give it to you after you come back.
Okay.
Tanner, you fly up into Sylvie Ono flies up into the air. You're looking for boats. So you're looking out to see the water, see how close it is.
Yeah.
Make me a perception check. A kelpie. It's like a aquatic horse. Fish
19.
thing. It's a kelpie. 19 perception, right? Yeah, as you kind of fly up, you see that you are the Fae is huge. You've never really been on this side of the Fae. You kind of stick to the Bogaine Tropics, the west coast. I gotta keep doing. I'm like, no, he's the West Coast. So you're not, which is not formally a part of any court. It kind of like stands apart by itself. So you're not often used to what's going on here. But you know that you are standing in a massive grove. The trees go on and on and on. You can see the blue on the horizon. Like you can tell that there is water down there, but you know it's not going to be a like quick journey. It's going to take you depending on how fast you're moving. You would assume if you're like flying, it might be a little faster. If you like were picking a boat down the river, it might be a little faster. But walking, it's gonna take you a couple of days to get all the way down there, unless you're like full on running or like going extra about trying to get there quickly. But if
Yeah,
you just
if
like
I'm
trying
like
to move
following along like the river, would I like how far would it be before I came upon something that I would deem like useful to me and my party, like boat wise, travel wise on the water?
you can't see you can't see the ocean per se from where you are. You can
Yeah,
only
I mean like river wise,
Yeah,
like
there's no
going there.
there are no boats on the river. If you had a boat, if you had a river boat a raft or something that you could ride the river down, that would just like
Hmm.
cut that time down. But you know you can follow it and it'll give you a easy way to know where you're going because you know that it has an outlet at the coast, so you don't have to like worry about where you're going. You just gotta follow the water. That's safe. You also know from a living out in the world kind of vibe that fresh or rivers of water in areas typically attract wildlife or things that are around because they need fresh
Yeah,
sustenance. So you know, while it is logistically the fastest way to get to the ocean, it is also more than likely the unsafest way to get to um the
the
coast.
coast.
But also, you just fought a bunch of monsters. So, like in the grand scheme of like how dangerous is it? It's like wild animals, but you feel between the five of you, you could handle anything that you've seen before. Um, you feel confident walking through the woods by yourself. So you having four
Yeah,
friends who are battle trainers is fine. But it's very far away. You do know the water route. There doesn't seem to be any like divergences in that river in any major ways. There are some small streams that split off, but if you follow the thickest river, it'll take you the thickest
always.
thing will take you where
Yeah.
exactly where you need to go. Um, and you don't see. Oh, and make me a that was a perception check 19. You also see on the horizon you can see things that are flying. You see like swarms of things, large winged, tailed, coming from the east towards where you now know would be Asgraf's cave, thanks to Desiree's notes over there where all those caves are. That is believed to be where dragons hang out.
I like
Um,
that. Yeah.
and a place, yeah, and a place that you were told, you know, your mom is not, she don't fuck with kids and she don't fuck with dragons. Those are the two things she don't deal with.
Oh yeah.
And so she's spoken very negatively about Asgraf's cave and the dragons that live there because there are dragons that live there. The sons of Tiamat, and you just don't want to deal with them. But you see like flying around, and you also know that those are not like what you see is even at this distance far too small to be a son of
Yeah.
Tiamat. Those are like great
Massive.
grandkids, like it's a little wyvern hanging out in the distance. But you just know like danger, or ooh danger, however you feel about danger.
It's the first right now.
uh, Anything else pique your interest while you're up there?
No, I think that's about all I like wanted to get out of that.
Okay. And then Desiree
I'll
was
head
in the
back.
water. My other friends were in the water. And okay, great. My water friends. You'd notice now that uh Scott slash Sharp. I'm always like Scott, and it's the Sharp that I keep forgetting. It's the S's, I think. Sharp. Now that he has killed that Kelpie, you see that there is a kind of like rippling in the water, and you can feel almost like little like water jets moving past your legs or under you as other kelpie under the water start to move down the river away from you all, which actually makes it kind of more calming. You notice that the temperature drops just a little bit now all the kelpies are gone, so it does cool just a hair. It's still hot, We wouldn't call it a hot, it's maybe a mild spring at this point, maybe a medium. But it is still very soothing, and you're in there, and you have the ability to just chill out. And you do so. Do the three of you do and or talk about anything as you all are hanging out in this hot tub river?
Oh, I don't actually always run away in a fight.
Oh, I wouldn't blame you if you do, honestly. I mean, I try to avoid fighting at all cost.
It's definitely an advanced tactic that I use when necessary. And I deemed that moment necessary.
You seem very smart, sir. I trust you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, what's your first impression of my home here? Do you feel welcome? I hope so.
Well, I don't want to be here. It's great on the joints, though.
I don't have joints, but I could imagine the pleasure that might come from that.
It's that's it's probably better to not have joints, so I'm happy.
You know, sometimes when my bark peels off, I do get a little embarrassed, but it's nice to not experience pain per se.
You don't experience that sounds splendid. For the past 20 years or so, that's all I've experienced.
Oh, wow, that sounds really rough. What happened?
Oh, I age. I'm old.
Yeah, you
Everything hurts.
you do have a lot of wrinkles. How old are you
Yeah.
exactly?
Oh, but like 50, 60, something. It gets hard to count eventually. Yeah, enough for my body to start destroying itself.
Hmm. I understand where you're coming from a little bit. My body's constantly burning and parts of it are falling off, but like I said, it doesn't really cause me pain, but the agony and the pain that you feel inside sounds much worse to what I have because I'm still young and stuff.
Kind of. It's made me grow. It's where, yeah.
No. Well, how about you, Tidbit? How old are you?
Oh, Tidbit is face down at the bottom of the river. I have to be completely submerged, apparently.
Oh shoot, were we supposed to be watching
saw
him?
that.
Ah,
Desiree's gonna turn to
damn it.
Ursine and go, do you think we should check on him? I
I
don't know
don't.
if he works like regular frogs. He might be drowning.
We very well could check on him, but hear me out. If we check on him and he's dead, that's going to be a lot of trauma on us. So we could not check on him, sort of forget that he's in the group and with us, and we don't have to deal with that at all.
I don't like the way that makes me feel inside. I think it would be best to check on him. And Desiree's gonna pop down and she's gonna go, excuse me, Tidbit, are you all right?
Oh.
Yes, you have called for Tidbit.
Is the water an okay temperature? Do you need it hotter or colder?
It's much too warm, but Tidbit takes what Tidbit gets.
I don't think he likes it very much here, Mr. Ursine.
He could have fooled me.
Scott, as you are working on that Kelpie project, which starts out real rough. You are cutting into it. You don't know what a Kelpie is. It has it looks translucent because it looks like water. It's like a water fish, but as you start cutting into it, its like skin is almost like a camouflage. Like you see that once you cut into it, like there's like meat and stuff in here, which you didn't expect when you cut into it. But also dissecting things is probably something you've done once or twice. But you're able to like cut into it, get into its guts. and clean it up, make it really presentable. But it takes you a bit of time, and it is a nice reason to be over here. Do you use that time to interact with
Yeah,
your?
I'm just going to. I see them talking. I'm mistaking them talking about rescuing someone who might be drowning for everyone just having fun, and then I see him pop up, like the lights kind of shining a little bit. I'm having one of those like anime moments, like it's all so pretty. And then I just kind of give like a shady look while I'm cutting the meat. Just kind of stick my knife in a little bit, and then I'm going to reach inside for that vibration. Sentences.
Being sneaky just sounds so weird. Yes. So as you reach in, you pull out the chest. You click it. It becomes the right size. You open it, and the first thing you notice in there is the message that you put in there. It did not go anywhere, and then you see it starts to. As you like are activating it, it starts to almost like a phone that was out of signal. Like it's like was trying to send a text, it couldn't, and as soon as you now you have signal, it goes through, and it starts to dissipate. But then you notice a scroll is in there, and you open the scroll, and it says, "Agent P5C077 Upsilon, you missed your last check-in. This is both unacceptable and uncharacteristic of you. We demand updates on your time and silverware." And then you kind of sit there, you're reading that, you're confused because you sent what you sent, but you're also watching it go away. So you have this moment, and then almost as soon as that message, the crumbles that you put in there vanish, another parchment appears. We'd begun to fear you've begun compromise. Accessing the Fae more than makes up for this. Where did you find entry? We will send scouts.
Can I respond, or I gotta wait till I can cast it tomorrow because I can only cast it once per long rest?
You can write on the scroll, but because your thing just went through, that this won't go through until after. But they got the first one you sent, so now you're just kind of like paying phone tag. So you can write it out and leave it in there, and it will go through at the appropriate time.
I'm going to reach back with, as I have thieves' tools, I'll use one of the picks, one of the metal picks. I'll reach back into that animal and put whatever blood it has on there. Is it all translucent?
No. It's like a green, a murky green texture.
I'll use that to write on the scroll. And I don't know what to say to that.
You don't have to think about it on the spot because it is a scroll of sending, so it's 25 words. You can send that to me. You can send that to me after the stream. Because
I'm gonna roll it up quickly before anyone sees it because I don't know what to say right now. Just wipe off that thieves' tool, put it away in the hole, and then I'm just gonna yell out at them. I got, what is it? Kelpie. I got Kelpie steaks for everybody for dinner tonight. It's gonna be fucking delicious.
And as you turn around and make that exaltation, Sylvie is descending down from the sky as they've just returned from their moments. And so you're all technically reconvened, though we do have a frog under the water. You all don't need the effects of a short rest unless you want to take a short rest. You do have the option of pressing on or setting up camp and getting a fresh start when you finish your long rest, which would mean to take a long rest, just a meta/character thing, which would mean you would have to sleep near or with these other people around you watching your back, which is,
my vote, guys, in the water. I say we make camp nearby. It's just a nice place. We got some water. We can set up a thing. I personally don't need to sleep. It's just in my nature, okay? I do need to just sit and just build up energy. But I'm conscious, I'm awake, and at any time if I sense danger, I can wake up and sacrifice a little bit of whatever. And we can also take shifts. My suggestion, I need spell slots.
That's fair.
Likewise.
We shouldn't do it right on the water, though. We should be a little off. Things in the Fae get creepy at night.
Yeah, did you see anywhere we could stay that's a little safer while you were up in the air?
Would I have noticed like an area that I would have deemed stayable for myself?
Make me a history check. You didn't go up there to look at that, but you can see if you remember seeing anything. And while we're talking about that, BB Grimes has redeemed a Fae Fun, aka a Wild Magic Surge. I rolled a 3, so it's gonna be Scotty. Can you roll me a D100?
And my roll is a 12.
12. A 12 to remember.
Yeah, history's not my forte.
Roll this one. Can't see that dice. Oh, 35.
35. Hold for 2 seconds.
It was a D100.
Yes. Do you remember? D100 is going to be. You said 35?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, a D100. And I started looking at the 100 and I was like, wait. Oh! Roll me a D10.
Oh, God.
Right.
It's stacking. A 1.
A 1?
Yeah.
Okay. If you roll an odd, you get younger. You get 1 year younger. You just look like a little fresher piece of cheese.
Not bad.
Listen, some people get a couple ages and they gonna die.
Hey,
First
hey,
time.
I was gonna say, I'm a food folk. Their lifespan without preservatives is a strawberry in the sun a day. That's why they're so frantic. I have a lot of preservatives, but that
Yeah, now you're
honestly
building up extra
took
time.
out a big chunk of my life. I'm not that old. All right.
At least you
Now
didn't,
you got
get
even
older.
longer
That
to
is-
live.
That made you like a. You got crusty. That been nasty.
Okay.
So you now you're maybe okay. You're kind of like waiting for your cheese to like harden up from the dent inside of it, and you notice that you're just kind of like staying at that softened consistency, which makes you feel young and rejuvenated,
Like-
almost a year younger.
Oh, my
you just-
cheese
you just
crust is less crusty.
Get a little softer, a little softer. You feel a little more mobile in your joints. You know,
All
slide some
those
oil
years of
in
having fly feet walk around me, it's all smooth now.
It's ooey gooey.
But oh, and then there was a 13 for the history check. 12?
12.
12. You do see a spot. Do I give you a good one or a bad one? 12. 12, 12, 12. 12, 12, 12. That's
That sounds good.
okay. It's alright. You know,
It's
it's fine.
better than average. You know,
You-
it's a positive. We're in it for the silver linings, babe.
You do remember seeing a spot that had like a small open clearing. You know, there's a bunch of trees in this grove, but you saw a spot that a couple of spaces that had like just some trees that were missing. So you would assume that under it is just like a flat space, so you could easily make a camp or have a place to hide out. So you're not
I've always
on the-
trusted the weave, and it's taking me here. So
the weave wills. So we have Scott voting or fuck me, Sharp voting for for a long rest. How does everyone else vote?
I'm good with that.
Desiree will vote for a long rest, but she definitely feels weird like setting up camp in like her like home area, just like sleeping out in the woods when she's so familiar with this area and knows like so many surroundings. But she's like, okay. She apprehensively agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's house is right over there.
Right.
but,
She's like,
I
I
get
have
it.
travel, you guys. We could just stay at my house.
Also, you know that in the and this could have changed since your time being home, but a lot of the falsetto forest and the firefly forest and the things south of Mandago's bridge is not that it's civilized. It's just it is kept in its appropriate state. So it's like, oh, the Court of Summer is a very much like a forest place, and while the people there act and live in a city, like the constituents of the Court of Summer who are like on the actual like the actual people, they live in the north and they live in the city. To the south is more like, oh, that's like where we came from, because now they don't do anything with trees anymore. Now it's all about Statue City and like building things up, so they're not really into the natural way things were, but they do respect that that is how it came up, and they also know that they can't really fuck with it that much, because if you fuck with the Fae fuck with you back. So it's kind of that energy. But you know that there aren't many people who live down here. It's like wildlife down here, or the people who are druids, who are just very much want to like, who live here, but that's like, oh, this is my tree. There's like not houses, but like people have areas that they like would protect, and kind of stuff like that. And so you don't think you would be encroaching on anyone's like land or anything, but you also don't think that there would be like the chances of you like running into things, except for wildlife or traditional life that would be out here. So while you wouldn't do it because it's like, I'm from here, it doesn't make any sense, it's not a bad idea for newbies. So you do have some comfort in that knowledge. But it sounds like everyone's on board for this long rest. No objections. Great. So the only questions I ask you now are you taking rest in shifts, and how are you making camp?
Tidbit will make camp. Tidbit has a standard of living.
And what standard is that, Tidbit?
Give Tidbit an hour, and we will sleep like the gods have wanted Tidbit to.
All right. Tidbit's gonna get the house down. Okay, so someone else can make food. Oh.
One of the gods, apparently.
It is Tidbit's house.
Like the
120 feet cubed.
It's a decent house. I don't know about huge, Sharp.
Well, ambiguous. Tidbit has known since birth. Tidbit is chosen by God. Ooh. Tidbit does not want Tidbit's arm to be on fire?
No,
that sounds
no.
painful.
Not
Is
like
that a
that.
threat? Were you
Yeah.
threatening Tidbit?
You
Actually, he
threatened
might
the
have been
chosen of
Ursine.
God?
It sounded.
Oh, a match. This seems like a fair trade.
Yes, yeah, so it takes an hour to cast that spell. So in that time, people can start to set up the camp. Is Sharp capable of cooking the food, or is he just on prep duty? Oh, great. Okay. And then I assume the ranger and the druid can help, settle out the land and make sure it's these hands magical. And I assume that Sylvie's doing what Tanner would do, which is supervise.
Of course, I'm creative director.
Yeah.
Tidbit has a standard of living. I give direction.
Fair.
I'm here to make it fall into place properly. Also, Byron says he can't hear Scott.
Oh,
I can.
Oh,
Oh yeah, all of us.
there you go.
This is different. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Sorry.
that beautiful voice. Okay, great.
And I'm
And so
cooking
now
steaks.
the only thing that we need to know is what is the your sleeping order going to be? Sharp did offer to stay up, the whole time and do it for you, but also people didn't seem like they were super sold on that. So you also have the option of either letting him do it, or you guys can make up your own.
Also, I'm just not going to be asleep. I'm just going to be up. There's going to be a
Yeah,
few
he's not-
hours where I just sit there and you're like, what the fuck is he looking at? and I'm not moving, but I'm not asleep. I can see you.
We'd need to keep watch. This temple is from God. Nothing can enter.
Oh?
Oh, we're safe in the house?
Oh, yes. Well, Tidbit would not sleep where Tidbit was not safe.
Okay,
Oh.
I see your standards, Tidbit.
Tidbit
Well, then-
also would not sleep outside, so.
It's not that bad, but I do like a house. Especially a
But
safe
we,
one.
we could keep watch if we are mistrusting, but Tidbit has not seen mistrust too much yet.
I'm too old to mistrust. I'm gonna sleep.
Tidbit, what does it look like as you start to cast this this spell that we know is the 7th level spell, Temple of the Gods?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you start to you erect this temple. I do have a question for you, because you have two options here, which Tibbet would know. You have the option of, because it's attached to your holy symbol used in this creation. I've done my homework, y'all. You can either do a summer song temple, which is your guy, or because that symbol is also used by what is known as the Fey Pantheon, you can also do it so that it is leaning towards them, which would be the Fey Pantheon includes time, balance, hunt, and inspired creation. Civ, Thrute, Summer Song, and Timpa are the 4 Fey gods.
We're pure summer song through and through here.
Summer Song created them. Okay, great. So you opt for Summer Song. Perfect. And tell the
It
class how
says
you.
you get to decide everything about the exterior, and I get to decide everything about the interior.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so as you start to, stand there and concentrate, you see you're still like slightly damp from the water that was that you were submerged in, and you see the water start to trickle off of you, and it starts to run the line of the ground as almost if it's like rough drafting, like how it wants this like found the blueprint to look, and it starts to slide through the ground, and it starts to go faster and faster till it like makes an indent, and then you see like a very thin sheen starts to rise out of the ground, and it gives very like fortress, but also a very like religious fort. It's giving like monk monastery. I feel like it's the best way to describe what a Temple of Summer Song looks like. He's very much a person who is like into the extravagancy, but is also a person who likes to get things done effectively. So he's like, oh, if it's gonna be cute, make it cute appropriately. Don't be doing nothing crazy. So it's like rounded columns. It is made of stone. It has very a regal and protected feel to it. It feels very sanctuary like versus a place of defense or a place of attack. It seems very peaceful in nature, and it sits made of stone, etched in faint runes. Whew. Jesus. In runes, and it stands about I could just pick how tall it is, 3 stories high. It's a 3-story monk sanctuary. Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like on the outside. And then you push open that door.
And inside is like a pond that has been lost in some forest somewhere. It's mainly a big water feature in the center, very deep. Everything that's not water is mossy grass. All around this pond, there's a bunch of pool chairs and day beds, and there's a tiki bar over in one corner. And there's just softly lit by like fireflies and other random lighting.
Is everything damp?
No, it's just optimal. Not like wet. No, it's optimal.
It just feels comfortable. It's like, oh, wow.
Desiree will turn to Tidbit and go, I hate to ask, but if you could do this the whole time, then why did we have to travel here all the way to the river just for you to be uncomfortable?
This is Tidbit's bedtime water.
Oh, okay. And
It was
she's
not
gonna get
bedtime.
out her book and write bedtime water down as a note under Tidbit.
Tibbet, does the water feature in the center happen to look like oof, the lake in which you were born? Does it resemble that at all, or is it just a coincidence?
I'd say it probably does, but Tidbit wouldn't make the connection on their own that it does.
Gotcha. Well, luckily you're not the only smart person here. Hey, Desiree, what's your passive perception and investigation? I think your investigation is the one I like.
My passive perception is a 17, and my investigation is a +9.
Yeah, so you kind of look at it and it's almost like seeing a piece of work based off of like seeing a fan recreate or like make something that is based off a famous work. And you look at this place and it reminds you of the Silent Garden, also formerly known as the Songbird Garden. It is where the giant statue of Summer Song was erected and where Demina spent 50 years or 10 years in mourning in silence at this place, and it became a holy ground, and it resembles that. You would also know, because you are a nosy girly, that is the same place that is rumored to be where Tidbit and his Grung family are from, the Silent Garden, and so it would make sense to you that this place looks like a part of his home.
I feel like Desiree would info dump all of that exactly as she makes the connection, including the part that this is like exactly where Tidbit is from, letting that information slip that she like already had prior knowledge of that.
And you all just hear her, she just gives you that same information. Oh, this is the Silent Garden from, Mrs. Songbird Garden. That's where Tidbit's from, and the other Grung, and silent and mourning for 10 years. And then you all sit there with that information.
You know a lot about Tidbit.
That's kind of weird.
I have even more in the book if you'd like to read it sometime.
About Tidbit?
Yeah, about all of you guys. I mean, you specifically, I've already got a third of just this one.
She did say she was going to do that. You can't be that surprised.
I'm not surprised, but interested, yes.
I wish you had said this before Tidbit decided who could open the door.
Well, to be fair, I did say that I knew you before earlier, back when we were done with that fight.
Also
Tidbit was
true.
not paying attention.
Oh yeah, because you two went to school together.
And Tidbit is also like, I mean, you don't know Desiree, so it's weird in a new way, but you're used to people knowing more about you than you've ever said to anyone. Like, it's like everything you say to someone is like accumulated somewhere, and they all like share notes on Tidbit, and it's like, I didn't tell you that. Why do you know that about me? But she just like knows a lot about you, and also just telling people who like you're not in a place where you feel like comfortable, so it's like that is why it feels weird. But also you do know that she does know some accurate things about you, which is interesting.
Tidbit, you got anywhere I can cook in here? The tiki bar?
Oh, yes. Definitely.
All right.
Tidbit closes the door and opens it again, and there is a kitchen where the tiki bar was.
Whoa! Was that here the whole time?
Sure.
I think he's gaslighting you, Sharp.
Witchcraft.
Well, okay, wait a minute. I want to try something else. Do you got like a really cold room?
Nope. Just the kitchen.
Okay.
Is there not a refrigerator in the kitchen?
Go stand in it. Do we have refrigerators in the thing?
Yeah.
An ice box. It's a box of ice.
All right, I'm gonna make my way to the kitchen, pull out the cooking tools, and start searing everybody kelpie steaks.
Cute. Make me a what's a cooking check?
Well, if I
Sleight
use
of
my
hand?
tools, I get a plus 13.
Okay, do that. Do that. What is everyone else doing? Scott is cooking, and the house is being made. Is anyone else doing any last minute snooping or settling or anything like that? Before
I'm
you give
trying out the daybed options to find the best that mold with my little fairy body the best.
testing up. Okay, you can give me an insight check. Scott, what was your cooking tools?
27.
Ooh, it smells real good, y'all. It's not ready yet, but it smells real good. Ursine, what are you doing?
I'm gonna cast Cordon of Arrows right outside of the entrance. And then I'm gonna do that again about 10 feet out. And I'm gonna place down 4 pieces of like of ammunition, so like arrows per spell, so 8 total. And if anything comes within 30 feet of it, then it's gonna take 1d6 piercing damage. Up to 4 times per spell, so 8. Except for us. Splendid.
Nice.
I'll go inside.
Send us some traps outside. I like it. Okay.
I got a 24 for my roll.
Nice. And that's spell work, so you don't have to do anything. That's standard spell work. You're Gucci.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
And Tanner, you said you got a 24 your insight?
Mhm.
Yeah, you hit a couple beds. You hit first one, a little too hard. Second one, a little too soft. Third one, had the potential. Fourth one, perfect. Fourth one, it's like someone sat in it who was already your size, so it's pre-warmed, pre-positioned. You're just like, bloop, and you're like, oh. Got the neck curve, and you're just like resting. You're like, wow. And you have perfect view of the meats and the smells. It's just like you're basking in your moment.
Oh, I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, it smells like meat. So much meat.
It doesn't bother me. I don't mind
Okay,
other people do
okay,
it.
great. I was like, awkward.
No, I'm not one of those. It's a preference.
Desiree, what are you doing in these final moments?
Desiree would be circling that main water source that she had kind of recalled from before, and you can see her writing as she's circling it and like looking down and examining pebbles and like the way the water's moving, and you could notice that she's jotting down in that chapter that she had on like information prior, like over it, like how you were talking about again in between the lines, adding to it.
Come on, she's an authenticating. Okay, we love to
And
see it.
she is enjoying the smell of the meat that's cooking, because opposite to Sylvie, she's on a carnivore diet because she's part tree, so she doesn't eat any plants.
She said, "I'm only eating meat." Perfect.
Huh.
Sylvie looks stressed. And Tidbit.
Confused.
What are you doing?
I mean, considering the implications of a tree eating meat, but
It's a carnivore's plant. It's fine.
She's half tree.
Stress.
take,
Like a Venus flytrap.
Tidbit is just sitting in the pond, really.
Yeah, just
Like
chilling on
floating
chilling.
floating on their back.
Yeah, and as you all kind of get into those last selling moments, Tidbit is selling into a place that he finally feels comfortable in. It's been a long day. Sylvie has found a nice place to settle in. Desiree is in her element, taking notes on things she don't know about, which is her favorite thing to do, is to learn. We got Grill Master Cheese, Chef Cheddarfield, as we call him, on the ones and twos, cooking up some steak. He's giving dad energy. Also, super, like, this is probably like the calmest you've seen him since you've met him. He's like not yelling at anyone. He's just like in the zone, grilling up steaks. It smells good. There's no weird winking. It's nice. You're like, wow.
I also love the idea of food cooking food.
Ooh.
Also, we do have food
Not
cooking
sentient.
food.
Not
We have
sentient food anymore.
yeah, food
Anymore.
cooking food. We have a tree that eats meat. We have a fairy that doesn't eat meat. Which is funny because fairies in the Fae come from fruit trees, so often they have this fruit this symbology to them. So that's also funny. And then Ursine is always a man for the plan. This is a nice hotel, and even then he's gonna make sure the security is right, and he sets up some spells outside to get maybe some passing animals, but definitely anything that would want to harm you all. And that is how you will spend your time as you start to settle in the Temple of Gods, to the God of Summer Song, and you start to rest up. Do not take the effects of a long rest yet. We will go into the long rest next time when we come back next Wednesday, 7:30, same place, same time, same people, different chaos. Different date. I got there. But thank you all for joining us. Thanks for taking the first steps into the Fae. It's getting pretty hot in here. See what I did there? Because it's the court of summer.
Tragic.
I make lots of dad jokes. I'm so sorry, and I'm actually not. So enjoy my humor. It's here for another 55 episodes. So, so thanks for joining us, and we will see you all next week on the Adventures in Silvernail. What the Fae? Odyssey of Chaos. It'll be campaign. It'll be episode 6. Then this is 6. It'll be episode 7. Yeah, the math is hard, y'all. It's so hard. We'll see you next week.